Hello, it's Crafty Chris here with another Scrap Your Scraps, and tonight we are going to be using paper scraps, not our zip strips, because zip strips sometimes only have pattern on one side and then they have advertising on the other side. So we're just using strips of paper. Now I may have shown you this before, or you may have seen it before. This is something, it's an old coffee gifty thing one Christmas, and it's just little drawers, and inside were pods of coffee. I am using it to store strips of paper. So I have one drawer that has thin papers that are 6 inches and over, and then I have another drawer that has thick strips that are under 2 inches but over an inch and 6 inches and over. And then there's other things, but we'll talk about that if I ever use them. So what I did is I went in and I just grabbed paper strips, tons and tons and tons and tons of paper strips. I didn't know quite how to describe what you were doing or going to do with them in the little blurb I give before you before you actually see the video. So I didn't bother to try. So I thought it would be better I would just show you what I did. So I literally grabbed strips and strips and strips and strips. And what we were going to work on tonight is a layout using some paper flowers. And this was an idea that was brought to me by a friend who saw a paper flower and thought it'd be a great idea for me to do on my Scrap Your Scraps, because it's easy to use scraps for this. So what I did is a couple examples, just some plain white cardstock. Using 6-inch lengths. These both are 6-inch lengths. This is 12-inch lengths. This is 12-inch lengths. This is 12-inch with 4 pieces. This is 12-inch with 8 pieces. They're quite puffy. On a layout, I would actually flatten them down. But for now, I wanted to show you, where we're headed. And then you can combine them. So you can combine a smaller can't use my words today. Smaller flower with a bigger flower to give it a centerpiece, or use it in a more complicated flower. You can get even smaller than the 6 inches, down to 3 inches and 4 inches. I think I've got some examples of that. And we're going to put centers in these, and there's going to be a combination of different things that we're going to use for centers. Some will be buttons, some will be brads, and some will just be a flower. Okay, so let's get started. What you want to do is let's pull out some 8-inch pieces of paper, and we will start making some flowers with 8-inch pieces of paper. The first flower we're going to make is just the plain, simple. We'll start easy. We just want 4 pieces that are 1/2 inch by 8 inches. And that's all we're going to start with today. Once you see this done, then you can play around with it all you want. And I've done some playing around as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is fold them in half. Now, you can do this 2 ways. You can make a flower like this 8-inch piece, just 1 petal, or you can make it 2 petals. I prefer to make it 2 petals because it's just quicker, and I don't think I really want an 8-inch flower on my layout. And I am planning to use these on a layout, so that will be the finished product once we've done some of the work. All right, it's best to use a quick dry glue. I have a quick dry glue here. And once you've folded them, you're going to put this quick dry glue, not too thick, because you don't want it to slip around. It takes longer to dry if it's too thick. And you're not going to fold that yet. You're just going to bring the tips to the center. And just hold it down for a second. Hopefully your quick dry will dry quickly. So I have different varieties of glue. I use quick dry glue. I use clear sort of rubber cementy type glue. It depends on the project. For this one, just a quick dry glue, and it doesn't even have to be a glue that dries clear because we're not really going to be seeing the glue anyway. This one happens to dry clear, but alrighty, and this is literally all we're doing. We're just bringing these flowers into the center first, and if they're not perfectly accurately cut, don't worry about it. As long as they don't have little jagged edges, although jagged edges might be interesting too, because there's so many things you can do to change these into a different look, and that's another thing I want to show you with this video tonight. Alright, so here is the basic premise of making the flowers. So you have your petal sets. So each side is considered a petal. All you're going to do is put some, whoops, a little too much there, glue in, and I'm just going to line up the center where they meet with the center of the, I just try to kind of eyeball it using my mat so I have a cross. Now I'll show you a variation on this a little later, but we want to try and get them so that the petal amounts on either side are fairly equal in this version. So I'm just going to put more glue, and now I'm lining up my line with the open spaces on either side so that it kind of will stay all lined up if I'm lucky. Alright, and then my final one is going to go this way, lined up in the center. Okay, and there's your basic flower. Now what you do to the center we'll worry about later, but you can put a button in there, you can actually stab through and put a brad, a trinket, you can make a smaller version of a flower and use that for a centerpiece. But we'll worry about the centers later. Let's just try the different sizes and the variations. Okay, so that's an 8-inch size, and so I have a number of different widths of 8-inch side. So here's another 8-inch side, but it is much narrower. These are 1/4-inch strips, okay, and I'm going to use more than 4. I'm going to use 6. Now normally to make a flower, sets of 4 are what you need. So you need that crossing element. But if you're really careful in how you lay it out, you can actually get other even numbers other than 4, 8, 12, and so on. So again, we're gonna, on this one I have double sides, so I can choose to use the wood grain side, or I can choose to use the pattern side. I think for this one I'll use the pattern side and the wood grain will go inside. So folding these in half with the pattern on the outside and the wood grain on the inside. But I could mix that up easily too, because these all have a wood grain on them. And folding, folding, folding. So this one's going to be a little trickier because we have that extra. You know what would be neat? Actually, I am going to have one folding with the wood grain on the outside and one of the same color folding with the wood grain on the inside. So proud of myself. Let's just see what happens when we build that flower. Alrighty, so these are narrow, so I can actually potentially add more. The wider the strip, the less space you have to add another little petal part. So these are long and narrow, so this, with some hope, will work itself out so that we can squeeze a couple of extra and get outside that 4 and 8. It's always good to leave your glue on the side so it's ready to go. I can't put this in my little holder standing it upside down because it actually runs out, so this mechanism thingy doesn't work. So just on the side. It's very liquidy glue. Just grabbing these, gluing in the center. There we go. So you can see why I couldn't really give an explanation as to how to prep for this today, because other than strips of paper. So we've got our 8-inch strips, 8 by ½ inch here, and these are 8 by ¼ inch. There are 4 strips here, and there are 6 strips in this second flower. Alrighty. And I'll probably end up making more than I need because I just like to make sure I have enough when I finally go to do my layout and I have some choice. So if, you know, some things aren't really looking the way I want them to look, I have options and color options as well. And I'm looking at this as being maybe a Mother's Day or a birthday, feminine birthday layout in the end. But first, we got to get the flowers made. There we go. Whoops, that one didn't want to stick to it. Oh, it's stuck. Yeah, it'll be fine. Almost done. Then the magic happens. Or the stress. I'm not sure how this is really going to turn out. So a lot of, I love when you send me ideas and pictures of things because then it gives me an idea of what you're looking to do. And I have a tendency not to, I try to work it out myself in my own brain. Try not to copy what I see in terms of going on that person's blog or whatever to recreate what they've done. I try to see how I would do it, and sometimes I get an interesting variation, sometimes I get a mess, but I like to give my brain a little bit of exercise and try to work it out myself. Okay, so I have 3 colors. So literally, I'm not crossing them exactly in half anymore. I'm now doing thirds. So technically, this is where I'm heading for my first row. And then in between those rows, I'm putting in the other color, the other 3. So you can, it's much easier to do it with even numbers of 4 or 2 or 8. It's more difficult when you're doing it with numbers like 6 and 9 and 3. So let's kind of give it a shot here, see how this works out. So we're crisscrossing it, kind of on an angle there. And I'm going to do this fairly quickly because I want to have a little bit of play in my glue so I can try and get it looking like even sections. There we go. I think that will work. So I'm trying to look that the space in between each is more or less the same. And sometimes it's better to look at it this way where one isn't straight up and down. And now I can place the individual pieces. Okay, so green was on the bottom. We're going to put green on the top. And now we can go opposite that. This is a little too high. There we go. So now I'm starting my next row and I'm lining up this green with that green in a 45, like a 90-degree angle. And so the next color was yellow. So I'm going to put it like that. All right, it's all geometry, right? That's going to go in there. Okay, so that's at a 90-degree of each other. And now 90-degree of the blue. Okay. And I think that that worked out. I think it worked out pretty good, actually. So there we have odd numbers, and we were able to sort of get it to work. So the first row, they are not 90-degree. They are more like 30 or around that. And then the second row, they're 90-degree to their actual color. This one's a little off, but quick drying glue, so I can't change it. Anyway, so there's another one. So these are both 8-inch lengths. This is a 1/4 of an inch width. This is a 1/2 inch width. So now I want to see what's this 8-inch length. Is this 8-inch? Oh, this one I just did random. I had these the exact same size, and I just cut them in half. And this is like, oh no, it's 8. I must have trimmed it. Alrighty, so now I'm just going to do these ones really quickly. Want the pattern on the outside, white on the inside. This is only one-sided paper. We'll get all our 8s done, because they're the big ones. I didn't do any 12s because 12s are really huge. Like 12s are something I would do if I was going to decorate for a party or something. I wouldn't use those for an actual layout. So there will be no 12s in this project. Okay. Oops, too much there. Let's get some of that on here. Fold and fold. There we go. This one, oh, come on, stay down, stay down. This one, fold, and I think that one's down now. Fold, hold that down. It's interesting what you can do when you're used to the system. Now I can do 2 at once. Hold one down and glue the other. Okay, and the last one. Get some glue on there. Hold it down and fold it down. Alrighty, so there's our 4 there. This doesn't want to stay. I'm going to hold it for a little bit while longer. Put some glue in the center and start adding my, I've got 4 of these, so I'm going to do crosses, centered crosses. It's only when I have something that's different than 4 or 8. All right, and one last one here. You can see how quickly these can be made. Whoops, sliding everywhere here. Okay, there's another one. So there's my 8s. I think everything else is smaller. Okay, so now I'm going to do some 6s. So these are a 1/2 inch by 6 inches. So they give me a smaller flower, but more depth in the flower. So I cannot do more than 4 petals on these ones because they end up looking very very bulky. I really didn't like the look. So the most I would do the width on these would be a 1/2 inch. I would not do them anymore. All right, and I'm going to keep the yellow on the inside because I have these again, same colors, but I have, there we go. I'm going to flip them. So the yellow is on the outside, whoops, and the turquoise on the inside. There we go. So as you can see, they're smaller, but they're also thicker. All right, that should be good. And just folding them into the center, holding them down. So as we go, I've played around with this somewhat. So we'll just get some of these done. So this is the next size. So again, this is 6 by 1/2. So you can see the difference. And I'm going to glue on here. And because they're thick, I want to do them 1/2 and 1/2. I want to make sure they're centered okay. Because I don't want to go too thick. There we go. And then the last one. It goes this way. Okay, and there's a 4-inch one. You can see that it is smaller. Now a 4-inch one that is made with thinner paper, so maybe I'll show you that right now. You can use more, or you can, this one is not showing up so well, so I will do that separately. Let's do, oh no, these aren't 6 inchers. Let's do a 6 incher with varying sizes. That's what we're going to do. Yeah, these are 6 inches. So these papers are all cut 6 inches. These two are 1/2 inch pieces, and these two are 3/16 or 1/8 piece. So let's see how that kind of looks when it's all spread out. Plus, I have a plain cardstock and a bunch of pattern paper, so I'm kind of mixing it up a little, quite a bit. So let's see how that one works out. So it's the same process for the 1/2 inchers, and it's just the 1/4 inchers that are going to be different. Now there's 2 ways that I could do this. I could line the 1/2 inchers up with a 1/2 incher and the 1/4 inch, or the 1/8 of an inch up with the 1/8 of an inch, or I can intersperse them, which is what I think I want to do. I don't know how it's going to look, but you don't know until you try. There we go. That guy down there. Whoops. And there we go. Hold that for a minute. So these again are 6 inches long, so they are smaller pieces. Again, the max you can go is that 1/2 inch, because otherwise it gets too bulky. Or I feel it goes too bulky for a layout. If you're wanting them 3-dimensional, you can do all kinds of different things, but I'm thinking in terms of a finished layout in the back of my head for these. Oh, dang it. Alright, that got a little crisscrossed, but this should be interesting. Little dots. Alrighty. go. Actually, I have two of these, so I think what I want to do is try one, mixing them up, and then try one with them sort of layered together with their own size. Whoop, this is a little more fussy. Okay, so this one we're going to do fat and thin, like, you know, together. And I need lots of glue for the big fat one. And lining it up in the center. Trying to give it a good balance. Alrighty, now I don't need as much glue, but I'm going to put it on an angle so that this guy feeds that way. Bring him down just a little. There we go. And just a tad more. And bring him this way. There we go. There. That doesn't look too bad when they're balanced, large, large, small, small. So let's try it when we mix it up. And I have another group here. Same color, but we're going to mix it up. So we're folding these in half. Folding in half. Alrighty. And let's start with the plain one as the base. I think. Keep forgetting to lie this down. Oops. There we go. This thing about quick dry glue is if you get it on you, you just rub it off. It pills up. Disappears. Alright, there's that one. There we go. Okay. So we are going to alternate now. So on here, I'm going to put a small dot. And maybe you just run it up and down so it gets a nice base. And line that up with the center. And try to make sure it's balanced. Okay. And then, so that's that and that. So now I'm going to go this way with the bigger one. This is really fighting against my sense of balance. But sometimes it's good to challenge yourself that way, because you can find out some neat things. And now I'm going to do one going this way. crazy, but I kind of like it. Look at that. That's kind of neat. Okay, so we know that it can work. Now, so those were 6 inchers. Now I have some 4 inchers that we can do. And again, these are 4 inches by 3/8 of an inch. And then I've got some much thinner ones, 4 inches by 1/4 of an inch. So we'll try those. And then that's pretty much it for our different sizes. But I wanted to show adding in a couple of center points. Oh, and that's a 3-incher. Oh, the 3-incher I was going to try to put inside. And these are 3 inchers too. So anyway, we've got a few more to do. And then I will let you go and do all your folding and gluing till you have a whole whack of them. And then we'll come back and you'll have your flowers in front of you. And with your flowers, you'll have just your buttons and your brads and even gemstones. If you have some gemstones, that'll work too. And we'll finish off the flowers, and then we'll do some leaves for the flowers. And then we will do the layout. So these are 4 inchers, and they're considerably smaller. They end up being a 2-inch flower. And you have to hold them a little bit longer with your glue if you don't have quick dry glue, because it's a smaller space, a smaller glue area. And more tension is here trying to pop it off. Okay. There we go. Alrighty. And there's number 4. These guys are much littler. I'm going to use him to start. And we're doing our basic lining it up. Ooh, that's nasty. Okay. It's a little crooked because I didn't glue that as well as I could have. Alrighty. And a little bit more for our last piece. Ooh, sliding around. Okay, so there is our tiniest version, and it can become the center of a flower. Any of the flowers that, well, not that one because it's the same color. So these small 4 and 3 size ones can be centers of other flowers or flowers on their own. So here is a 3-incher. I'm going to do that one. 1, 2, 3. Oop, I'm missing a piece. There we go. Or was I? Yes, I was. Okay. So these guys, I'm going to start with do one round with the yellow on the outside, and then I have a round with the blue on the outside. And I haven't really sort of thought of colors, but once I get the flowers all done, I can pick up cardstock that will pull it all together. Alrighty. Again, now these are thinner. They're not the 1/2 inch, which these were. Actually, those weren't a 1/2 inch. Those were 3/16 of an inch. You couldn't really do a 1/2 inch width on this one because it's just too small. So this is as wide as I would go on a 4 inch, which is 3/16 wide. And this is a 3 inch, if I'm not mistaken, just double check, yep, and I've got these at 1/4 inches. And that's pretty much the widest you could go. I mean, you certainly could try it. I don't really like the look of it being so bulky. There we go. So small, they're a little fussy. But they're cute. So cute. And there we go. Okay. Doing our usual, lining them up horizontally, trying to give them an even spacing. There we go. Oops. Lining that up. There we go. I think it is going to rain. I can feel it in my brain. There we go. Now these guys are so cute. There we are. And that's your littlest one, your little 2-inch flower. Well, actually it ends up being 1.5 inches. So that's 3 inches by 1/4 inch, and it ends up being a 1.5 inch flower. And like I said, you can use these as internal parts to your flowers as well. So they're really, really cute. All right, so I've shown you the variety. I've shown you that you can play with the widths of things. I've shown you that you can play with the colors and what side you actually use. And you can combine, for instance, the next one that I'm going to do is this one where I have chickens and stripes. So I think they're fairly cute. So I'm gonna combine those. That's my next round. And then I'm not putting anything together until I've got all my flowers done. And I'm gonna make, let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 8-inch ones, because here's the other 8-inch one that I'm going to work on. And I have 1, 2, 3 6-inch ones, and then I have 1, 2, 3, what's going on there? 4, 5 4-inch ones, and I have 1, 2, 3 3-inch ones. So if you want to pull that together, I'm giving you some time to do that, and I'll see you back here shortly. Okay, so oh, look at that. I have brought out my buttons. I don't know if you can see that so well. There we go. And I combined a couple of my smaller flowers with my bigger flowers and a button. I decided to go just with buttons instead of combining buttons or gemstones or brads, because I kind of like the way the buttons all kind of came together. So I combined these guys together, and combined these guys together and these guys together and those together. Left that separate, 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 and then combined that guy together. So I got quite the variety of flowers. Now the overall color that I see when I squint my eyes is either orange or yellow, just like as a general classification of color. So I probably will pick I don't know. I don't know what I'll pick. I'm going to put my my buttons away, and I'm just going to start to pull some. Trying to get good lighting here because it's very important to have good lighting when you're playing with paper. So. Let me think here. Squinting eyes. Alrighty. I think I'm going to try sort of a pale yellow and see what I think of my pale yellow. If I have pale yellow. Oh, yes I do. Let's see. Pale yellow? Not really. I don't find that it kind of goes great there, but then when you get into some of these more richy kind of colors. Oh, I just thought of something. What about a wood green? Wood green background. I'm going to grab some of that and we'll play with that idea. What is that? Okay. Okay. So I got all my wood greeny type papers in a whole different section. Alrighty. So let's see here. This is, now we don't want to do that. Okay, so I have this wood green. Oops, it's a little bit dinged up. Wonder if that would be a good combination. Kind of allows the colors to pop a bit. I'm not minding that too much. Okay, that's one option. And let's maybe try something a little darker. Okay, so we've got a couple of things going on here. This is a little tinier, but I think the background is just a bit too busy. It's hard to say. Get a few flowers on there. That, or so here's kind of a simple wood background versus a more textural wood. Oh, I kind of like the textural wood background now. Alrighty, so let's move these guys. So we're going to dump this, and I think I'm just going to keep that because that I suddenly just love that because this is a little too dark. These other ones are kind of too dark, and that one's too plain. Okay, I'm good with my choice. So I'm using a very sort of whitey browny background here. Oops, all my papers are sliding down. Okay, put that aside. Alrighty, so now I got to glue some things on here. Now I have to also decide if I want to put some twine in those buttons. So let's think about twine and buttons. I guess if I were going to use a twine, it would have to be something simple. Simple, but you know, some of these are kind of interesting without the twine. And then, okay, I think I have an idea. This is a twine that has some gold in it. I may not put it on the silver buttons, but I can put it certainly through some of the others. Alrighty, get my little snippy snips. I'm going to get rid of that end because it's very pulled apart. And what if I were to put twine through here? So let's see how that's going to look. So I want to have enough if I want to put a little bow. Now this is the tricky part. Yeah. It's going to be a little bit too thick. But I also have that. This is just a bit thinner. This is too thick. Okay. Let's try this little stripy one. Don't think my needles will go through there. Nope. So I'm going to have to thread the needle. Alrighty, so I want one to go through here. There we go. One to go through the other side. Of course, that side won't go. Come on. All right, this one goes well, so I'm going to put it through both sides. There's one side. You can always stiffen the end too with a little bit of glue if it becomes a big problem for threading. Okay, so now I just loop my two sides and tie them in a knot, pull it back to the size I want. Tie it a little tighter. So if I were to have that on there, see, I don't really think it adds anything. That's the problem. I think I'm just going to stick to buttons without thread because it doesn't really enhance it in any way, I don't feel. So we're just going to stick these puppies right on. Okay. Now, we are going to have to flatten them out a little bit, but we have to make them first. So let's kind of flatten them a little bit. And we're going to be doing some gluing again. Actually, I think I'm going to use double-sided tape for this one because it's just a little quicker. There we go. Put some double-sided tape. Pull that off. Now this guy I'm going to line up so that he's alternating. There we go. Try to center him. And then a little bit of double-sided tape for the button. No, it's too big. There we go. And put my button on there. There we go, and there's your finished flower. That's a nice big one, so I think I'm going to start with that one in the bottom corner. And I think I'm going to do the 3 big ones first to see where I'm going to end up positioning them. So there's one. It's kind of tricky getting the paper off these little bits. This one I'm going to try to alternate. Remember, this had 3, was done with 6 pieces rather than 4 or 8, so it's a little bit trickier to center. And a little bit of this in the center here for the button. I love these corduroy buttons. They are so cute. They just give a little more earthiness to them, a little texture. So there's the second one, and the other big one is this one. Okay. And stick these alternating as well, as best as can be with such a small little flower. There we go. And then this button is going to go on there too. All right, try to center that one. There we go. That's so cute too. Flatten that out just a little, not too much. All right, so we have flowers. We really do. I think I'm going to do a 5x7 because this looks like something that could be like a special photo for a special person in one's life. So I'm going to get a 5x7 out of here, out of my list of photo mats. Okay, 5x7. And do I want a portrait? I like landscape because I'll probably have somebody hugging whoever it is. So let me put a little bit of repositionable tape until I get sorted out. So this is going to be a 5x7 layout. I have a tendency to do all my singles as a left-hand page, but there we go. So I like the idea of these big ones and that big one there because we're going to build sort of a cascade of flowers. Alrighty, so now we've got some medium ones. Let's get these medium ones all done up. This one's going to be easy. It's a little antique-y looking. It may not be one I end up with. It depends how it all kind of plays in. With a nice, beautiful gold button in the middle of it. Whoops, that slid. So that beautiful textured gold button. We'll put him there for now. I like this 3 texture one. So let's build that. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. And we're going to try and center this as best as possible. It's kind of awkward to center, actually. Try that again. So there we go. That's a little better. Flatten it a bit. Now this button has wire in it for what reason I do not know. Guess that's how it was attached. So let's pull that wire out. Don't need that. Right into the garbage. I like this square button. It's a unique shape. So it's something new to add to the what's going on here. And this color is a color I'm not really fond of, this dusty rosy color. So this is a good way to kind of get it out of my stock. There we go. Is that centered? No, totally not. Let's move that up. Is that centered? Much better. Okay. I'll bring that down here a little bit. This one is a simple silver button. And I like this silver button because it's pretty mesmerizing. You'll see what I mean when I show it to you. Look at the texture on that. It almost looks like it has little diamonds, but it doesn't. So I think we'll put that in there. Okay. All right. And we are going to make some leaves just to have some greenery. Whoops, I almost put the wrong thing in there. There we go. Didn't look centered. Oh no, that came off. Okay. Going from bad to worse here. Okay, let's get some more glue on that. My glue's jammed. Yeah. So let's just stick it down with the button. I think that's the best way to go. There we go. At this point, alrighty, and this is a really neat button too. This has a really great texture on it. And let's just slip him in there. Maybe put that one up there. Okay, we're getting a flow. Let's slip in a few of our little ones. And nothing is down until it is taped down, actually put permanently. Just starting to fill in a little bit of the gaps here. Not too much the same. Maybe there. I don't have to use all the flowers. That's the other thing. I can decide not to use the flowers, all of them, and this has a neat button on it too. Very battered looking. And what if I push that button up in there, flatten them out a little. And again, love these corduroy buttons. I don't know where I got them. They're ancient, but they're, let's see. some of these flowers can be popped. Okay. I want to have that one more on top. Or do I want to have this one on top of that one? And then that one. Okay. We're down to 2, and I may take some away. Might think I need more. I don't think I need more. Definitely not more. But play around with them a little, yes. Alrighty. Cool shiny button again. Can sit there. And then, oh, my finger got stuck. I don't think I need that much for this little button. There we go. So this is where we're heading here. Now let me take a look. Do I like the balance? Do I need to bring more of something out? Do I need to cross over a little more? Like maybe have them all jammed in there? Do I need to open them up a little bit more so there's space around them? Now, leaves. Let's talk about leaves. So I've got a bunch of different colors. I don't want a whole lot of leaves, but I just want to have a smattering of them to kind of give a base. I think I'm going to stay away from this because I'm already seeing that that's just too harsh for my eyeballs. This is a little too pale. This is no, too pale. This kind of blends in with some of the colors we have going there. Can I get away with this dark green? Maybe a little of that. This pale green. I don't think it has enough impact actually. And this is kind of antique-y green. This is another shade of that pale green. And then we have kind of that going on. I don't think this really fits in, to be honest. It seems to me, but you know what? I'll have it to the side in case I change my mind. Alrighty. Now this is a sticker, so this is going to end up being stuck flat to the back, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that, but I just have to know where I'm going to stick that so that the other ones that I'm going to try to make a little more dimensional work out. Okay, so I'm going to just be cutting these with my brain. I'm not using a die. You could use a die if you want to. I'm just going to cut these into, I think this is 2 inches. Yeah, 2-inch squares. And I'm just going to take a bunch of them and cut them into 2-inch squares. So I'm just off camera trimming right now with my trimmer, 2-inch squares. And this also came out of my little stash of bits of paper that are over 1 inch. That one's slightly smaller, but I'll may be able to use it. Okay, now here's what I'm literally going to do. I'm going to get my big scissors because the little ones won't cut through this. And I'm just going to make a leaf. So I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of cardstock. It's probably going to shift and do all kinds of nice, interesting things. But I don't mind that either because it makes them slightly unique. So I'm going to have one side a little bit thicker than the other side. Okay, so this side is straighter, this side is rounder. And I am just going to sort of place these. I think they're too big for the little flowers. So I'm going to place them around the bigger flowers. Maybe I can play that in the corner there. And it just gives it a little bit of an anchor. I think I'm going to play this one in the corner here as well, to anchor it down in that corner. Actually, maybe we'll do it that way. There we go. Or I can put it this way and give it more of a corner element here. There we go. And I'm going to play with it popping out from underneath. Alright, so that's one set of green. I don't want to overload any particular dark green. Okay, keep that to the side. This I'm going to make smaller because I do not want this to be overwhelming. So I'm going to make, this is 1.5 inches. I'm going to make 1 by 1.5 inch, and I'm going to make 4 of those. 1, 2, come on. Maybe I'll make 5 just so we have an odd number. 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so I have a little green left of that. Now I'm making smaller flowers, or smaller leaves, so I can't do 4 at a time. I'm going to try doing 3 at a time. Make one side rounder and the other side straighter. Okay, so I've got these leaves. One, 2, 3, and I've got 2 more to do. So one side is rounder and one side is not. Oops. Literally just cutting them as randomly. I'm going to do smaller leaves for those guys. Now these are going to pop up even though it doesn't look like they are right now. Okay. I just want to see some of the balance of the green. Alright. I'm going to make some little ones of these. So we have, yeah, let's do a half inch cut. 3/4 of an inch cut. Okay, so Chris, let's figure out how you're going to do that. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to eyeball it, is what I'm going to do. 2. 3. 4. And 5. Okay. So I have these 5 little guys. Can only do 3 at a time. Same kind of thing. Fat around one side and skinnier on the other. Okay, so we have this guy can have his going down there. We have one going in here and here. This one doesn't have any leaves. I don't know if I like that, but let's wait and see what happens. Okay, so this guy can have leaf coming out this way. Actually, see if we'll go that way. There we go. Alrighty, so everybody has a leaf. I think I don't like 2 leaves at the bottom here. I think I did like when it went into the center like that. That allowed more room for this flower. And this leaf can live under there. Alrighty, so now we're going to start to stick these things down. That's it for leaves. Okay, so now I'm going to leave that there. I want these leaves to have a little bit of life to them. So I'm curling them just using my finger. And I'm going to fold them as well. And I'm going to crinkle along the edges because leaves are not straight and flat. I'm going to give it some crinkliness so it looks like it might be an actual real leaf. There we go. Okay, so there's one leaf. That gives it nice depth. And we're going to do the same thing to this leaf. And curl it up. Fold it down the center. Give it some texture along the edges. And it looks more like a real leaf when you do that. There we go. So these 2 leaves are going to come out from under this flower. So I want to place the flower first, and then I'm going to stick the leaves. And I'm just going to put some double-sided tape. Sorry, trying to get my chair closer. Underneath the flower. There we go. And take this off. Yeah, easier said than done. Okay, so this is going to go up in that corner. I haven't trimmed off my edge yet, but there we go. And now I'm going to look at my leaf. I might even image it just a little more. And I want to put flat adhesive here and a pop dot at the top end. So I'm just going to grab some mini pop dots. I'm going to put that at the top edge, about 1/4 inch in, and flat adhesive at the bottom here. Okay, so I'm just putting one little bit. And now I'm sticking this under here like so. So that's going to be flat and that's going to pop up. Okay, and it gives it depth off. I just like manhandling these leaves. Same thing, some flat adhesive at the bottom and a pop dot at the top. Take the pop dot cover off, and this guy is going to go under here. Like so. There we go. Make sure everything's in. Do I like that? Well, we'll see how the whole thing lays out. So I'm going to do the same thing to this. Curl up the leaf. This time I'm not folding it in half. I'm just going to leave it curled. I'm going to curl the top, and then here at the very, very top, I'm going to curl in the opposite direction with my nail. Okay, so we have like a kind of like an S shape. And my dot is going to go right in the belly of that S shape. Okay, and some regular adhesive is going to go down here. Better put a little more than that. And I need to actually stick down this first. Grab my double-sided tape. Not having luck with those. There we go. Nope. Switch sides. There we go. Okay, now I want a bit of the leaf to show, and I want this to tuck in there like that. And then this guy is going to tuck in like that. Alrighty, this guy's going to come out a bit more. Little bit on the little guy. We're almost done here, ladies and gentlemen, if there are any. I'm going to be excluding. So this guy is going to go right here, maybe like that. There we go. And I'm going to curl this the same way. So I'm just going to go curling up and then curling a little bit at the tip down. Okay, get my glue dot or my pop dot and adhesive. This is going to go down here like that. There we go. Alrighty. Just moving it around a little bit here. So think of it a bit, put this guy in the bottom corner here before I lose what's going on there. It's always the potential of creating things like this is as you move along, you shift things slightly, and then by the time you get to the last one, it's like, oh, It's not going to fit there where I wanted it. So let's put this guy here. And this is one of the leaves from up here, so we're going to curl that up. And then fold it in half-ish. And then we're going to kind of crunch the edges all the way down. I think it needs to have all of its edges crunched to make it look more like a real leaf. There we go. And this is going to be a little big for under there. Yeah, it'll work. Had to reposition it in a different location. That could be a problem. Oh well. We're going on by the seat of our pants now. And I put a little bit this guy up at my top corner and some at the bottom. Making sure that it stays on my page. There we go. Alrighty, now this one, okay, this is where we're going to have to do some shifting. Aha, this was supposed to go with that one, but I think I will use 2 here for that one. And this one only has 1. A little at the top, just to give it an S shape. Adhesive at the bottom. Glue dot, pop dot at the top. Okay. And now this one, so let's see, I want to have this one overlap, something like that. So we're overlapping here, but I'm going to put the glue underneath there where it doesn't touch that, so the overlapping is easier to do. Okay. There we go. Overlapping. It's going to go like that. And this little guy is going to go like that. There we go. Then we can play with this one just a little bit more. You can have both those coming down. Okay. All right, so this guy is the next guy to go. Now your flowers obviously are going to be slightly different than mine. So you're just going to arrange them in the colors and the sizes that you think will fit your page. And I need to have a little bit of don't like that. So if I bring it over, then I can play there. All right, that's where I want that. Give this out, pull out the leaves. Whoops, stuck them in. Okay, these guys are gonna get the usual treatment. Okay, But this time they're going to come right up, out from under the flower and stick up. I'm not folding the tips over. I'm just leaving them rounded. And putting flat on the bottom. It's the only place that I'm putting it. Whoop. And we're now going to have, let's put this one over here first. Oops, make sure it's like it's going under the flower. There we go. And this can go there. All right. Perfect. Now this guy needs to go in here. Like that. Yes. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put him like this. Okay. I'm gonna just curl his leaf up. Or hers. Stick that there. There we go. This little guy is going to come in here. Going to have his leaf come out the same side, I think. Yeah, but down, going down, I think. There we go. Yeah. Alrighty. There we go. Curling this guy's leaf up. A little bit on the bottom. And that will be coming out. The bottom there. Okay. Now this guy needs to go there. Now when I'm developing this picture, I am going to make sure that I develop it in a way that's going to leave some space around the outside edge so that the action is going on in there. So it won't be affected by what's happening down here in terms of the leaf and the flower. Just want to make sure that guy can still go in there. Yes, he can. And we're going to do what we did to those leaves. Fold it in half. And crumple the edges. All the way down and all the way back up. Flat on the bottom, pop dot on the top, but this time we're not taking that pop dot off. We have to wait until we get the photo in there before we can do that, because I don't want it to stick until we have the actual photo in there. Okay, and this is where we're going to put our title. Only a couple more to do, folks. And then, of course, as usual, if you have your Sparkle pens, your Wink of Stella, clear, silver, gold, whatever. You can add some of that sparkle around. Now this guy is going to go in there. There we go. And his leaf is going to turn up. Actually, I'm going to have his leaf turn down. So we're going up first. And then we're going to turn the edge down. So we have sort of an S shape happening. All right, and then flat at the bottom, pop dot at the top. This we can take the pop dot cover off, and we are now going in there. There we go. A little bit of depth there. And then this guy's going to go in there, and I think we're just going to bring this one down here. I think that or bring it down a little more so it falls off the page. Yeah, I think that's better. And then I'll have this leaf coming out that side. Yep, I like it. Okay. Now you can certainly have way less flowers than this and smaller flowers. I did use large ones because I was showing you how to make them. And it's easier to make them big than it is to make them small at first. Okay, I think we're going to do that. There we go. This leaf is going to turn up. With a little bit of, oh, come back here. Come back here. A little bit of adhesive. Oops, I think I might have flattened them a bit. There we go. And our last flower. Oh, got adhesive stuck on my finger. There we go. Last flower. The reason I'm putting the flowers on with the tape and not this is this stuff sticks like for good. And sometimes, depending on the brand you have of the other tape, it can, oops, I want to do this flower up as well. Okay, it can dry out and fall off is what I should finish a thought. Okay, put that there. And tuck that in there. And make sure everything is on there. Good. So we are done with our actual laying out of the flowers. I can go back in with some sparkle and stuff and just hit the tips of the flowers, the edge of the inner flowers. I do want a title. Sorry, I just hammered my head on my camera. There we go. So let's finish off with a title, and I think I'm just going to stick to black. A simple black title. And I do have a pile of titles somewhere. Let's see. Okay. There they are. Oh, I think I'm just going to look at my black stuff and see what I can find here. I could just simply have the word fabulous. That's one option, but I think it might be a little too large, but let's pull that out. I could have the white word sweet. Forget the new part, but I could do the sweet. And what else do I have in here? Oh, I don't know if that really goes with it. No. What do I have? I could put this photo. Actually, I like that. That is what I'm going to put. Just clicked in my brain. Perfect size. Very generic-y enough so that I don't have to worry if I decide to not use it for any particular event. So I'm just going to put this photo on there. Like that. This photo. And that's it. There you go. That is our layout, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get this. Oh, great. The O isn't attached. And I've got dog hair on there. Yes, I do have a dog, so that makes sense. So I'm just going to have a small slant to it. I don't want to have too much of a slant. There we go. And this, again, just a small slant. Make sure that it looks about the same. There we go. And there you have it. That is our layout for tonight, made with paper flowers, paper leaves, buttons, and an interesting background. Now I'm going to go in and trim that off, obviously. And I'm actually quite loving it. So I hope you are enjoying yours. And please feel free to subscribe. And we will see you next Thursday. Bye.